I stand amazed in the presence of Jesus the Nazarene and wonder how he could love me, a sinner condemned, unclean. And with that truth, I stand here with you in front of God today. I was brought up in the lovely town of Aberystwyth. I was very blessed that Christian truths were in the centre of our family life. I was christened in February 1989, and I thank my parents for sticking firmly to the promises they made in front of God then and nurtured me in God's loving hand. I think that I broke the record for the youngest Sunday school member a few weeks after I was born. I attended Sunday school on a regular basis until I was 18 and had all sorts of experiences there. There was never a dull moment, and being the minister's daughter, I was always the last to leave, so I could run around the pillars in the vestry until my heart content. And if you were a master at the art of sneaking upstairs again, playing hide and seek in the gallery was always a highlight, especially in your Sunday best. I prayed, I read the Bible now and again, and lived a Christian life to a point through my childhood and teenage years. It wasn't affecting my life that much, but it was good to know that I had an emergency phone number to God if needed. In September 2007, I started my time at Bangor University. Whoa! True freedom for the first time. Eat and drink whatever you wanted at any time you wanted. Go to bed whenever your heart desired, although midnight was pushing it for me. This was a turning point for me with regards to my relationship with God. Before that point, I thought that I could win God's favor and be a goodish person and everything would be okay. I didn't think that I had this thing called sin. That was for really bad people. I was living life as I wished, and I was getting further and further from God, and wasn't as good as I thought I was. Then I tried my very hardest to be a good person and failed. I came to see that I was a sinner too, and I couldn't get rid of this feeling of guilt in my own strength. The turning point for me was reading this passage from Galatians chapter 2. These are Paul's words. For though the law, I died to the law, so that I might live for God. I have been crucified with Christ, and I no longer live, but Christ lives in me. The life I now live in the body, I live by faith in the Son of God, who loved me and gave himself up for me. I do not set aside the grace of God, for if righteousness could be gained through the law, Christ died for nothing. Therefore, I came to see that I didn't have to do anything to get a place in heaven or had to be extra good to be in God's good books. He had already done everything on the cross for me. What a relief. Freely you gave it all for us, surrendered your life upon that cross. Great is the love poured out of all. This is our God. God's love is free. So that night I gave my life to Jesus. I remembered my dad saying many times before when I was a child that I just needed to ask Jesus to be my friend. But that night, it just made sense to me. Christianity isn't about being good or bad or holier than thou. I would fail at that straight away. It's about accepting that the Lord has taken away our sin and burdens and nailed them on the cross. He just wants us to give our lives to him. It is finished, he shouted on the cross. He surrendered his life for us. He took the punishment of sin upon himself. But the even greater news is Christ is risen. Lifted on high from death to life, Forever our God is glorified. Servant and king, rescued the world. This is our God. My relationship with God changed from being something I just knew about to something real that I now treasure in my heart. This relationship that I have with God gives me a real peace in my heart and affects my life daily. Life as a Christian isn't about having a free ticket to an easy life. Life can be extremely hard at times, but I know that God is there to carry me through the tears and laughters of life. 'Tis grace that brought me safe this far, and grace will lead me home. Diolch.